We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. You know, I was asking myself yesterday, why did it feel like we had done lesser shows? And I thought to myself, Pooh and Zach, it's because we didn't do a post-game show for the first time in 15 weeks. For the first time in 15 weeks, we had not done two shows on Saturday. So it was a really nice relief. But you know what happened? Monday, a week ago today, we came on the show and I screamed from the rafters, bring me Aaron Anderson, bring me Aaron Anderson, bring me Aaron Anderson. And my God, did Frank Wilson go out there and bring back in and reel in last year's number one recruit in Louisiana, Aaron Anderson, back to LSU. Guys, it's massive. Absolutely massive to be able to go out and get the number one recruit from last year. And you know what's crazy about this? Maybe it should send everybody into a little bit more of a stress-free environment when a kid decides to go elsewhere when the transfer portal is what it is now. Aaron Anderson saw so many things, man. He saw so many things. You know, if I had to assume, Brian Polian was probably more happy than anybody on planet Earth yesterday, LSU special teams coordinator, that Aaron Anderson has decided to come home. Now, we'll talk on that. What does it mean? More rain coming this week for the Tigers as early signing day technically starts on Wednesday. I don't know when it starts anymore. You got kids already signing. I don't know what, it's so goofy these days. So, look, Wednesday will be a big day. Looks like maybe Isaac Smith, safety from Mississippi, will be signing on Wednesday. Desmond Ricks, the five-star corner from Virginia who went to IMG, will be committing at 5:30 on Thursday. So a pretty big week in recruiting. And quite honestly, guys, where you can continue to build on you winning the West this season. So we got a lot to get into there. Also, Brian Kelly spoke with the media. Some tidbits that I took from it. And I'm going to give a pretty big prediction, guys, tonight. Y'all ready for it, producers? I might even hit one of these. If it's your first time listening to the show, that's our sources memo, but I'm not really giving a sourcing. I'm just giving an opinion. Guys, I think Jaden Daniels is coming back. I haven't really been public with that, but I think he comes back. Now, look, let me just preface this by saying he can change his mind at any given moment. Okay, so what I'm saying today, tomorrow, the man could literally go into the NFL draft. But Brian Kelly mentioning that he could play a game right now if LSU were to suit up this upcoming Saturday kind of tells me all that I need to know. Also, Josh Williams, technically at his graduation speech says that he is coming back. So looks like you got a lot in your running back room returning as well. Guys, this team's going to be loaded next season. This team's going to be loaded. They're going to have a lot of talent. So we'll talk on bowl practice. We'll talk on what BK and his media availability with us. Brian Kelly is meeting with the media as well Wednesday, at 2. So we'll get him for signing day as well. I'm assuming as he's getting those letters of NLIs, national letters of intent, or whatever that you call them now. So look, it's all good. So getting Josh Williams back, adding Aaron Anderson, this offense looks to be doing some really big things. We'll talk all offseason on what LSU's got to do to not just win the West next season, but take the next step in winning the SEC. They got a lot that they got to get to. one big key, and I think Jamar Cain's on the trail and doing that. We'll talk about that as well. Carter Bryant joins us like he does every Monday at 7:30. Any questions you have for Carter, hold on to them until he joins us at 7:30. So looking forward to having him on as we do every week. It's always fun. I always tell Carter I'm only going to keep him 15 minutes, and then I always keep him 45 minutes. But it's always fun because we always talk a lot of LSU stuff, and it always goes really well. Also, SEC Merry Flipmas. A lot of kids flipping, man. One big one today that I was surprised about, former LSU quarterback target Dante Moore flips from Oregon to UCLA. Alabama's doing some things along their offense, especially offensive line, so that will correlate on what LSU is going to have to do to counteract that. We'll talk some SEC as well. And guys, I forgot to mention this on the Saturday show. Guys, I really think Billy Napier's in trouble. I really do. If he weathers the storm, it's going to be pretty impressive, him weathering the storm. I mean, Mario Cristobal is absolutely cleaning Billy Napier's clock. So I think Billy, G5 Billy might be in a little bit of trouble. We'll talk about that in the SEC as well. Might even get to it with Carter. And then we won't be doing a show on Thursday. So, guys, we're getting so close to Christmas. My wife and I are going to her family's Christmas on Thursday. So I will be off on Thursday. But Pooh will be doing a show. Zach, are y'all doing a show tonight? Friday? Okay, so he says he's doing one Friday. Okay. So we still have some shows you can go and watch as well. All right. Let's get to a couple of these comments, though, before we get started. Lucy B says, yay for Josh Williams. Yeah, it is awesome. Brandon Reese says, I'm glad Williams is coming back. Yeah, that's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. When he talked about it in his graduation speech, he talked about, hello, my name is Walk On. And then when he said he was, applying to the NBA program, I mean, that's him announcing that he's coming back. I mean, that's all that means, because he'll start the NBA program this upcoming semester, and then obviously in the fall. Travis Tyrone Banks says, tell him to go get Travis Hunter. Well, I'm sorry to piss in everybody's pebbles. Travis Hunter ain't coming here. I mean, the man's in Colorado already. What is interesting though, did y'all see Georgia? Pooh, did you see Georgia's trying to backdoor this deal, telling him not to commit to Colorado? That's interesting, though. That's interesting. I mean, if there's a team that could flip him, maybe. I just don't see it. I didn't. I just don't see it. Brandon Reese says, doesn't Ricks make his decision on Friday? No, he makes it Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. He also says, when will Harris make his decision? I don't know about that one. Y'all going to have to ask somebody else on that one. I don't know when he's going to make his decision. If it were me, I would ask him not to make it. Let me just say this. If it were me, I would ask him to hold off on a decision, a public decision, until after Thursday at 5:30. Let me say that again. If it were me, read what I'm telling you. I would ask him to hold off until the decision until after Thursday at 5:30. All right. Nathan E says number 18 needs to go to Josh Williams. I tend to agree. I mean, the kid's worked his way up, man. He's worked his way up. Pooh Bear, our producer, says, I'm doing a show on Thursday because I wasn't invited. Pooh Bear. I'm doing a show on Thursday because, you're talking about. Yeah. So about that. This isn't the family that like, remember the lasagna and the catfish and all. Now her family can cook now. By the way, I never put potato salad in my gumbo until I met her. Till I met my wife. I gotta be honest. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Nathan E says, I think Georgia is going to make a handsomely deal for Hunter. Well, Bottom line is they could. Miami could. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. BGS Goat says, is there any portal news? We'll touch on that as well. We'll touch on that. And last one before we get rolling. Mark Smith says, if JD returns, look forward to 9-4 record at best and another wasted year of not developing 4- and 5-star talent quarterbacks. Total waste of receiver talent. Okay, we can talk about that. We can talk about that. So y'all think we're getting worse technically or staying the same? Because technically you would get worse because I don't think you lose to Florida State. Guys, we're not going 9-4. Paul says your audio sucks. Paul, your stream sucks. My audio doesn't suck. This is a $300 Rode mic. This is a $700 Rodecaster. So get off Facebook and go to YouTube. It's not us, it's you, pal. It's not us, it's you. Howard Jr. says, if JD returns, look for the circus to change locations. The circus to change locations? God, what you know what? We might have to go on Rufino's rants on this one. We might have to go Rufino. Guys, you went 9-4. Noah Long says this JD hate is insane. Yeah, it's insane. We get in it every week. Everybody comes in the comments, and all it is all night long is Jaden Daniels hate. So I don't know if y'all know this, but of the LSU media beat people, like the guys that actually are credentialed, I got my credentials for people on Twitter if you wanted to come see them, because I'll show them to you. Actually, I might do it one night. Remind me. I'm going to do that tomorrow. I get to y'all's questions more than anybody and interact with you more than probably anybody on this beat. Y'all majority of people come in here and slam on Jaden Daniels 24/7, and you won the West. Like, calm down, dude. Calm down. All right. Let's get this thing rolling. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to all of those Facebook groups. So many of you listening to us live on Facebook. If you're listening to us on YouTube, subscribe, notification bell, all of that good stuff. We appreciate you doing that. So excited for our good partners over at the TuneIn app. Also, our good friends over at Sirius XM Radio. We appreciate y'all joining AYS and letting the AYS team be a part of you as well. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, if you're listening on XM, rate, review, subscribe, all of that good stuff. All right, we had a massive weekend. Brian Kelly addressed the media about bowl prep. Guys that are standing out, we'll talk about that. And I know what you want to talk about as well. We'll talk recruiting. Talk about Bet Online and GM Varno & Sons next. We got a lot of LSU to discuss. Let's do it now. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varno & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varno & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. All right, let's get this thing rolling, y'all. Pooh Bear, bring up the stats. I give Pooh the bat signal. But nevertheless, Lars Carville says, I think the JD5 and Joe Burrow comparisons are insane. Lars, I agree with you, right? Like, I agree in the sense of that Joe wasn't here during the spring. It took him a while to get developed with his guys, new offensive coordinator, new head coach, new environment. You're right there. Here's what's interesting, though. And when I say this, or when the stats come up and Pooh Bear shares this, I just want to throw this out there, okay? They are eerily similar, right? Like, both guys went 9-3 in the regular season. Both guys had 16 touchdowns or passing touchdowns. Both guys had around 2,800 passing yards. The only difference really is Jaden Daniels threw for, 68.5%, Pooh? I mean, and I think Joe threw for 58.5%. Here they are right here. But Burrow went 219 of 379, 58% completion percentage, 2,894 yards, 16 TDs, 5 picks. That's in year one, obviously, of LSU. And then Jaden Daniels' first year at LSU are 254 completions, 371, 68.5% completion percentage, 2,774 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. The only thing that I will say with this is this. Look, Jaden has a lot of more starts, right, than Joe did in that year. I just still am a part of the belief that Jaden can get better, okay? So when you talk about, and let's talk, and I'm not going to stay on the Jaden Daniels comparison train. They're really similar. I mean, say what you want about it. Have your own opinion. I don't care. You're right. It's not fair to compare Jaden Daniels to Joe Burrow. Bottom line, stats are really similar. It's kind of crazy how are. Do I think Jaden Daniels is going to come out next year and throw for 60 passing touchdowns? No, he's not. Now, can he throw for 20 and run for 20? Maybe. Can he throw for 30 and run for 10? Probably. Can he have a breakout year? Yes, because I will tell you why. This is why I think Jaden Daniels is going to improve, and it might not be necessarily the advancement. Let's talk about what Brian Kelly said in his press conference yesterday. I mentioned this last week, guys. I mentioned this last week. I'll continue to reiterate it. There has been a lot of hype around how the break, and when I say the break, I mean since LSU played Georgia, the refueling along the offensive line. Guys, the offensive line played bad at times this year. You have 2 young freshman tackles. I have been told, I haven't been in practice, nobody's been in practice, but I've been told, and it was asked, that may have had somebody asked this question, and Brian Kelly alluded to it. Guys, they're getting a lot better along the offensive line. They're going to continue. Your entire offensive line returns. Where I think when you add a weapon like Kayshon Boutte coming back, and the massive, and I'm talking about absolutely massive addition of Aaron Anderson coming into your team, Aaron Anderson is the guy that you could just throw the ball out into the flat. You can throw a little screen route, and he could take it 60. Okay, I don't know if you had that guy last year. Now, Kayshon can do it, but Kayshon's more of the guy that wants to take the slant, wants to take the crosser, wants to take the dig, catch it, get upfield, and go. Aaron Anderson's the guy that can take the top off the defense. He can also you could throw him a screen pass and he gets you 60. Jaden's got to get better with throwing the ball down the field and letting that bitch rip like he did against Georgia. When his leg was hurt, he let it rip. It benefited LSU. I think next year this offense is going to be something serious to deal with. Josh Williams returning. The 2 young freshmen and Caleb Jackson and Trey Holly come in. John Emery looks like he's going to be returning. Looks like Noah Cain's returning. Looks like Armani Goodwin's returning. Now, do I think one of those guys maybe transfers out? Maybe. I mean, of all of them, maybe Armani Goodwin, but I don't know that. I mean, the kid's been a stud. Now you're back to a Frank Wilson type of running back room. Do y'all remember 2011 running back room with Frank Wilson? The guy that was a freshman that year was Terrence McGee. Shout out to Franktown, where I'm from, Franklinton, Louisiana, who would eventually be damn near 1,000-yard back and wear number 18. Guys, this offense is returning damn near all of their production. The only production you're missing is Jeray Jenkins, who led your team in receiving touchdowns. I think LSU given if Jaden Daniels does return or not, is going to be something to really, really, really have to be dealt with. I'm not going to say that they will be the best offense in the SEC or SEC West next year. But guys, they're not getting worse. They're only getting better. Let me say that again. And I don't think people understand this. With everyone returning, what do you think Jaden Daniels is going to be doing in the offseason? You think he's going to be just sitting around doing nothing or be working with his wide receivers? They're going to get better. There's no other choice unless they sit on their hands. They're not going to, because as Brian Kelly alluded to in his press conference this weekend, team's hungry. Offensive line's getting better. It would seem that the time off has really helped this team refuel. You have young freshmen, Landon Ibieta, call him 7-11, the kid, the wide receiver from Mandeville, because nobody can keep him not open. He's getting open every time. This offense is going to be something to be dealt with or have to be dealt with. I'm not going to compare them to 2019. Nobody on planet Earth on college football's history can compare to that. What I am saying is when you have just the explosiveness that you're going to be garnering and getting next season is otherworldly. Guys, the fifth wide receiver, think about this. Your fifth wide receiver next year might be a five-star Shelton Sampson. Your sixth wide receiver could be Chris Hilton, Jaylen Brown, Landon Ibieta. Your backup tackle, it's not going to stay like this, but hypothetically, your backup right tackle or left tackle can be 5 stars and Lance Hurd. When have we had that issue? Because under Orgeron, whether you like it or not, Ed did not recruit or was he able to keep the kids here longer periods of time where you're stacking talent up on itself like they are right now. The last time they did it was 2019. And guys returned. When you have a team that won the West like they did a year ago, and you have guys returning while adding key pieces, which we'll talk about defensively and recruiting in just a second, that is success that's going to be built upon. It's like building a house. When you go and you establish the foundation, the only thing else that can happen is you get better. Now, let's get to a little bit of recruiting in this weekend. Because really and truthfully, the recruiting piece of this that we'll talk about today basically is going to hinge on what we talk about defensively. Now, what I would suggest for you to do, if you're listening to us on the podcast, shout out to the podcast, by the way. Guys, we do have some really good news. We just went over the 500,000 listens for the year on Apple Podcasts, just on Apple. So thank you for everybody listening to the podcast. But I think that if you're not subscribed right now to our message board, you should be. AYSSnetwork.com. I give a very lengthy rundown of this weekend and everything going on. I'm going to give you small tidbits. LSU went after and is going after defensive linemen in the portal. You got Braden Swinson from Oregon, who's an edge jack linebacker that LSU needs to get a pass rush. You have help coming with him with freshman and Deshaun Womack. They're gearing up there. There's other guys that they are targeting, okay, along the interior defensive line. I think Jalen Lee is going to be interesting. If you don't remember who Jalen Lee was, he was a defensive tackle from Live Oak who got processed out, quote unquote processed out, or was told maybe to look elsewhere by Ed Orgeron, and all he did was go to Florida. My point being is LSU and Brian Kelly are putting a very large focus into and onto the defensive side of the football, because I think that they know that offensively they're going to be trouble. But you're going to have to gain depth along the defensive line. You might have to do some things at linebacker, even though I think DeMario Tolan and Greg Penn and Harold Perkins are going to be really good. Really, really good. You're going to probably have to maybe add a piece there. And then it comes to defensive back. You have guys like Isaac Smith, the forced high rated 4-star recruit out of the state of Mississippi. You had the 5-star Desmond Ricks out of Virginia from IMG Academy. You have Denver Harris from Texas A&M, who's in the transfer portal. I will tell you this, and I want to make this really well known. A year ago today, a lot of you in here were panicking about LSU and NIL. Believe me or not, even though we're in the game and doing them ourselves, whether they are public or not public, because we can do an NIL deal and they don't have to be public. My point being, and take a hint there, LSU's not behind in jack diddly shit. And Brian Kelly knows, and Matt House knows, and Kerry Cooks knows, and Robert Steeples knows, and Scott Woodward knows we have the potential to be a very dangerous team next year. The only way that LSU is going to get beat out is because the kid wanted to go somewhere else besides LSU, not by anything that they did. Because they've laid out the red carpet. Truth be told, LSU needs Desmond Ricks. They need probably a Denver Harris. They may need another corner in the portal. They need Isaac Smith. They need Kylan Jackson from Zachary. All the help that they can get to prep and get this defense ready. Because if you can get seniors and really experienced guys like Greg Brooks to return, like Joe Fuchsia to return, those guys can help mold the future DBU that you see in front of you. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it took Brian Kelly and Robert Steeples to get to even have the potential to get DBU back. Coy Raymond, what's up? Now, if Desmond Ricks does not go to Florida and picks LSU over the University of Alabama, don't tell me that Coy Raymond was DBU. Do not tell me that. LSU is its own place. LSU can sell itself. Let's call it what it is. And Robert Steeples is doing a really damn good job. But on the recruiting trail, LSU rolled out the red carpet. It's going to come down to if you're ready to win national championships at LSU under Brian Kelly or not, because they're going to do everything in their power to do it. Don't tell me they can't beat Alabama again. Don't tell me they can't win the West again, because I can make the argument that Bryce Young is the best quarterback in Nick Saban's career. I can make that argument, and LSU still beat them year one. A 10-2 Bama team, a Bama team that, quite honestly, on paper, should be in the playoff and should be probably, remember in the beginning of the season, playing for a national title. So spare me this little fake little whatever you want to call it that LSU beat a down Alabama. A down Alabama would probably beat, I think that the only two teams that they potentially couldn't beat, even though they lost to LSU and Tennessee, they still could have beat LSU and Tennessee. They beat everybody in the playoff besides Michigan. They are Michigan and Georgia. LSU's on their way. And that's all you need to know. All right. Let's get to a couple of these. Nathan E. says, I subscribe to the forum, and it's the best $7 ever spent, Blake. Thank you for doing that. All right. Royce Pierce, since 1999 via Super Chat, says, man, I'm so tired of all these people doing these players, man. We have a lead head coach. I trust the process, and we're really going to dog on Jaden Daniels. We have to do better and support the players, man. Go Tigers. I agree. Thank you for the Super Chat, and I agree. I 1,000% agree. Because, guys, I mean, again, you won the West with Jaden. You went 9-3 in the regular season with Jaden. Are we assuming that he's getting worse? Because he went this is what the interesting part about Jaden Daniels is. At Arizona State in his last season, who, by the way, was on his third offensive coordinator in 3 years, I might add, had 10 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. A lot better at LSU with talent, more talent around him, wasn't he? He's going to get better, man. I believe it. Kevin Forche says, I love this show. Best on the planet. I agree. I mean, I want to make a joke, but I don't want to bring politics into this. You know what I mean? Like, the best show of all time. All right. Somebody asked in here, I can't find the comment. Do I think that do I think Jaquelin Roy returns? I don't know, man. I don't feel good about him returning. I really don't. C. Wilkes says Jim Brock better take advantage of his talent. Now that's more of a concern than anything it is to me. That's more of a concern than anything. Nathan has said, congrats, Blake, and the AYS team. Yeah, if you didn't catch that in there, Clay Phillips says the same. We did pass over 500,000 listens on the year on Apple Podcasts. How about that? They call me the half a million man. All right, one more, and then we're getting to Carter Bryant. C. King says, crazy part, Alabama has a number 1 or number 2 class every year. There's no such thing as a down year for them. That's true. Right? And what's crazy is LSU beat them with a roster full of only 63 scholarship players. Oh, and we didn't even mention this. Brian Kelly also mentioned in his press conference, we're going to get mid to high 30s of recruits and transfer portal guys. It's ridiculous, man. Oh, Pooh Bear, Zach. Hey, producers, over here. Who said that? The last 7 months? Huh. I think it was Carter. Let's get to him next. Let's talk about good friends over at our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm, the DrakeWilliamsLawFirm.com. But before we do that, let me tell you about our good friends over at Synergy Resources. Synergy Resources LLC. Synergy RESLLC.net is where you can find them online. Hoses, pipes, fittings, they do it all. Give our buddy Tully a call today, or just go to their website for all of your fitting and pipe needs. All right, that's Synergy Resources LLC or RESLLC.net, and let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. All right, 30 seconds. Carter Bryant, we talk to him next.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, DrakeWilliamsLawFirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vicnair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, DrakeWilliamsLawFirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino with AYS sent you on by.
Carter, the Power Bryant. What's happening?
Blake, life is great, man. It is the early signing period. Are you kidding me? It's the best and worst thing in all of college football. I don't like it. Like, I hate the fact that.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't like the fact that the staff. And Blake, you talk to people that actually work on the staff. I
have no sourcing. Continue.
And I occasionally do as well. I don't think people quite understand, Blake, how crazy all of this is, right? Like,
what part?
All of it. Like, you're having to get ready for a bowl game. You're having to re-recruit your roster. You got to re-recruit other players that might be interested in going elsewhere. You got to recruit high school kids. You got to recruit other transfer portal kids. It's a lot, right? And especially with the transfer portal and NIL, I don't think people quite grasp how difficult all of this is. Now, what I will say, Blake, is Brian Kelly was asked about that, and he said he loved it. He said he loves it.
You know, I have a theory on that.
Now I want to hear it. I'm curious.
My theory is because I think I think. Well, let me. Here's my theory. I don't think he does love it. Okay, what I think's going on is that he's telling, like, he's giving a massive shout out to his staff.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Like, I don't really think he likes it. I don't think any head coach likes it.
No.
Saban talks about he doesn't like it. And Carter, you're going to have to move it back anyway because, and here's the big reason, we would have had a playoff game Saturday. We would have had a college football playoff game Saturday with a 12-team playoff. You mean it? So let me throw this out there. I'm going to talk about Billy Napier later tonight in the show. Carter, they just got absolutely obliterated by Miami because they were playing this weekend. Like, every Florida lean, okay, all these kids are like, literally. And Will Fong talked about this today a little bit. They were all going to Florida. Like, a lot of them were going to Florida. Miami swooped in and got all of them. So my point is, my whole thing is, why not push it back? Like, I don't get why kids have it unless you're an early enrollee. I don't get it.
I don't either, Blake. And I think at some point, whether it be this guy from Massachusetts who's going to take over the NCAA, whether it be a collection of coaches, I doubt that anybody will ever change it. The toothpaste is already out of the tube. I just know from staffers that I've gotten to know over the years, this is really hard on them. Like, they won't ever admit it because it's their job and they get paid really well to do their jobs.
Right.
And there are over 100 people that would love to have any SEC recruiting officer's job.
Carter, we need to have a show one time, remind me of this, of talking about, like, when we talk to sources, how horrible their job is. Everybody thinks it's fun in games. It's really not that fun. Like, it's fun, but it's really not. You know what I mean? Anyway, continue.
Yeah, like, everybody wants to work in sports. They do, right? But then you start to see the hours some of these people work. It's really, 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 really hard. So I'm not saying throw a pity party for them, but my point is there are a lot of players that struggle with this, right? You're having to make this absolutely massive decision in your life. You're a teenager, right? You should be worried about what you're going to wear to Applebee's on prom night. Instead,
that's an Arkansas thing. People in Louisiana don't go to Applebee's on prom night.
Or wherever it may be.
All right.
It's
we go to fancy places. Like, okay?
I'm telling you. So, Ruby Tuesdays, wherever you might go.
A good one. A good one.
But it's I understand this is just like a diatribe here, and we'll get into actual specific stuff, but it's crazy. It's pure chaos, especially considering the coaching cycle, not only for head coaches, but offensive and defensive coordinators are happening right now as well. Now, here's something that's very important, Blake, to remind everyone is last year LSU was kind of in a tough spot, obviously with the new head coach and everything. This year, a lot of things did work out for LSU. They did get a bowl game after the early signing period. They do have some spots on the team that do open themselves up to immediate playing time. There's a lot of things that you have to like about LSU's situation right now. Of course, LSU having a top 5 class, but it's extremely difficult. Everything gets sped up. Coaching decisions get sped up, and a lot happens in a very short period of time. And if anyone disagrees with me, all I want you to do is, whenever we're done here, list all the different things that are happening right now in college football that heavily affect the program. And they're all happening right now. This is the absolute most critical next week of the future of your program everywhere. And it happens before the end of the actual bowl season. It honestly doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I do think at some point we will have changes to the system.
I talked to a staffer, obviously not going to mention, and I talked to one in the Southland Conference, a offensive coordinator in the Southland Conference, and somebody around LSU. The guy at Southeastern said that he bought a couch he went to this funny story. He went to a fraternity house, bought their couch for $250 and put it in his office so he could sleep. And then the guy around LSU literally said he hadn't slept in 24 hours because he had so much, so I think it's crazy. But so let's talk about that. So obviously Desmond Ricks, we have Javian Taviano that committed. I don't know where you want to start. My biggest thing was Aaron Anderson coming back. I think he almost solidifies a lot of your special teams issues. When it comes to the return game, I don't think he drops that kick against Tennessee like Besh did. That's not a shot at Besh. It's just he's not a return guy. He's never been a return guy. So you got a natural return guy back there. I guess, Carter, where would you want to start with because there is so much news, where do you want to start?
Well, obviously, Desmond Ricks is the biggest, right? Now, look, you might not think Desmond Ricks, whoever you may be out there, you might not think that Desmond Ricks is the next Stingley or Patrick Peterson or anything like that. But Blake, the data just backs up that the elite DBs are the best DBs coming out of high school. 247 of those guys normally get this right?
On the DB side.
Yeah, on the DB side, absolutely.
Right, correct.
Yeah,
correct.
like a top 100 DB can change the trajectory of your program. Now, this is what's very interesting. We're going to be talking about this on my channel, but and I'll give you a Cliff Notes version of it. If you list the greatest LSU defensive backs of all time and you just listed their national recruiting ranking, it is amazing how many top 50 corners at LSU have hit, right?
Let me ask you, would you put Tyron at number one?
Yeah, I mean, he's number one, but he's a middle tier 4-star. And then obviously there's Greedy Williams and Mo Claiborne. There's some outliers. But all you have to do is just list all the great corners at LSU, right? And I'm talking about
Peterson, Christian Fulton, Derek Stingley.
Yes. And as you move down the list, the hit rate goes way down. So in other words, whether you look at it at LSU or whether you look at it nationally, top 100 corners are difference makers. They win you a lot of football games. So whoever you may be, if you actually evaluate these players and look at their high school film, or if you're just someone that just follows recruiting, top 100 DBs matter. They really, really, really do. They could change a lot for your program. And Desmond Ricks is obviously that. He is a 5-star corner. This guy has obviously succeeded at IMG Academy. The hard thing about IMG Academy, Blake, is that they play so many blowouts. So there's really not a whole
top tier dudes, man. It's not like they're playing scrubs either.
Right. Well, in some games they just they'll play a Bishop Sycamore, but in other games they'll play.
Nobody's playing Bishop Sycamore.
I think they actually played a school that kind of sort of didn't exist this year, but they go on these runs and they beat these teams like 96-0, 48-0, and all of that. So obviously Desmond Ricks is a guy who is truly a dominant athlete. He's obviously got just the size you want from a corner. He's got that, as we mentioned privately, Blake, he's got a Jalen Ramsey, Marshawn Lattimore kind of build to him that you want from a true outside corner. And this is who LSU desperately wants from now until
and needs.
Needs.
It's not wants anymore at this point, Carter. It's needs. Look, you need him.
And look, Brian Kelly didn't mention him by name, but he kind of did when he was.
No, he was calling. He was all up in that Desmond Ricks sweepstakes.
That's what he basically
Saturday. Let's not. Carter, the press conference is supposed to go on today. It went on Saturday. Why do you think that is?
Right. And that's why he said what he said about freshman DB. So look, the guy, if he does sign with LSU, I think he is. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him to compete right away. But if you take a look at the history of 5-star corners, most of them are ready to go right away. And if that is the case, that is a huge championship piece for LSU next year.
Well, it's interesting. I think about that because I remember Eli Ricks, right? Like you can think about Eli Ricks all you want to, right? Like the last 5-star corner you got, okay? He gave up 2 early big plays. He gave up a touchdown against Mississippi State. Then he turned right around and had an interception and then was locked down. So I agree that the DB part of it is big. Now, you got Javian Taviano that committed to LSU last Wednesday. Denver Harris sits out in the mix. Carter, look, I'm not going to say that if they get all these guys, they have to be the potential to be the best. Because look, freshman corners are freshman corners, okay, and they're going to get lost in space. They're going to get beat on routes. But I'm willing to see. It's kind of like the Jaden Daniels thing for me, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. When Jaden missed a pass, I'm kind of at times not going to overreact because him missing a pass, he still does something with his legs that let's call it what it is. 99% of college football can't do.
Right.
With that being said, I think Desmond Ricks is the guy that, like, it's not need at this point anymore because, and I don't know if LSU's going all in here, and I think that they are, but they don't have another corner in the portal that is really high outside of Harris. So, like, they're putting their chips in the center here and ready to go. Let me ask you this, Jaden Taviano. I got to be honest, kept it close to vest, didn't tell anybody what he was doing, only supported LSU, commits to LSU, is going to sign with LSU. What did you think about Jaden Taviano?
Yeah, you're talking about a big dude, right? Now, if you go look at his
Do you think he'll play safety?
Yeah, I think so. But if you go look at his size, like on 247 or on 3, it shows that he's like 6'1", 6'2", but he's built. He looks like a unit. He looks like an NFL player, like right now. And those are the kind of guys you want on your team, right? Now, for me, I'm just going to be just as fair as I can to Desmond Ricks and Toviano. Just all I watched of them. I don't know if I'll ever have a defensive player as highly rated as Harold Perkins, but I do think those guys are really good players. Now, do I think that I can 1,000% say that they're going to be All-American, All-SEC kind of guys? Not necessarily, right? So they obviously have the talent to do it, and if everything gets put together, they're going to be very good players. One really interesting thing, Blake, I loved about Toviano is there are a lot of special teams plays, not only from him, but, you know, a guy that's kind of gotten lost in the phrase, a guy that you like a lot and a guy that I like a lot is Kylan Jackson. He's kind of been, you know, lost in translation here. The one thing Toviano and Jackson do a really good job of is they make a lot of plays on special teams.
And they are not scared to hit you.
Yes. And that was the most impressive thing about Toviano to me, Blake, was this is a guy who really enjoys playing for his high school team. And the way you could tell that is how many home run hits this guy delivered. He likes to knock people out.
He was lighting dudes up, lighting guys alive. I mean, dude, it was impressive, brother.
So if you're one of those people that are calling for Coach Polian's job, well, newsflash, I think he's going to stay. I think he will stay in the same capacity. Now that he's got these people coming in at defensive back, he's got more players that he can willingly play on special teams. So I know Roderick says Kylan Jackson is his favorite player in this class. There you go, holding it down for Zachary. But yeah, I think those two guys, if you know they are willing, I think that they will be guys you hopefully see next year fly down and make some big special teams plays. So we don't have to have Jeray Jenkins at the end of the year making touchdowns.
And I love Jeray Jenkins all the live long day. Carter, he's going to run a sub 4.5. He's going to run a high 4.5 in the combine.
Right.
Okay. And so, you know what I thought about when I watched Taviano? You were covering the team. You were on the beat. You were on the sidelines, press box, whatever. Remember in 2011 when Jarvis Landry against Auburn ran down and decapitated a guy on special teams? Did you see the play where Taviano did that? It was almost damn near similar. The guy was up and did the same thing. The dude just loves to hit. And I like that. I like that a lot. Carter, let me ask you this. So, look, we've talked a lot of defense. We can talk defensive line if you want to. They're going to get some news on Wednesday. They're going to continue to get news along here with Deshaun Womack and other guys. I want to wait for that in that discussion with me and you because that's a very long discussion. Yeah. We'll talk about the defensive line when those guys commit because I think that here's what I believe. Okay? I'm trying to wink. Okay? I think they're going to get a pair of interior defensive linemen. I know that I think that they're hint, hint, wink, wink, are going to get an edge rusher. So let's pause on that, and then let's evaluate them when they do commit, okay?
That sounds good.
I talked about this, and Brian Kelly alluded to it in his press conference. Now I want to get on the field. Buddy, this offense is starting to get a little bit scary for me in the sense of that how good they can be returning.
Yeah.
Like they're getting a little – because Josh Williams announced technically at his graduation he's returning. You have 2 running backs coming in. You have Aaron Anderson returning – or Aaron Anderson coming in. You have Kayshon Boutte returning. You have the entire offensive line, and let's just hypothetically, for argument's sake, say Jaden Daniels is returning. Carter, on paper, is there a better offense in the SEC right now?
Let me see.
It's not Arkansas. Tennessee's losing literally everything. Alabama's using Bryce Young. They do have Jamar Gibbs. But it's Jamar Gibbs. Can Jamar Gibbs leave?
Yeah, I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to leave. Yeah.
Okay, so he's a draft eligible sophomore, meaning he's a redshirt sophomore.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
He played 2 years at Georgia Tech. Yeah.
Okay, so Florida. Okay, no. On paper, would they not be the most explosive offense in the SEC, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, now that I think about it, I think so. Like, I think obviously we'll see what Lane can get out of the portal at receiver. But LSU, yeah, I would agree with that. And obviously, for one thing, Blake, you mentioned Josh Williams a minute ago. So I'm working on a bunch of Jaden content that's going to drop after signing period's over. And one thing that really shocked me, Blake, and it's always better. It's kind of like when you rewatch a movie. Like, I feel like when I rewatch LSU football, there's always something that you don't pick up. Do what?
There's always something you missed.
Yeah, there's always something, right? So it's kind of like watching Inception, the Christopher Nolan classic. You always pick up something, one little detail that's new, right? And the one thing that really stood out to me was Josh Williams. I was really, really, really shocked at how many guys that you would see him make miss when he never did that before this year, right? And I was really, really blown away. And I think he could be a bona fide college football playoff back. I really do think so. Like, he was so big for LSU against some of the better teams on the schedule. And that obviously really excites me. It really excites me that next year LSU's got a new red zone weapon. I don't know if you saw this weekend, Blake, but Zalance Hurd is a jump ball receiver.
I know. Oh my God. What a play. Lance with the hops. Hey, did you see the DB so scared to hit him? He backed off. He ran and almost hit the goalpost.
Oh
man. That made my entire weekend, man. Big
Carter,
man touchdown.
Can you imagine so here's my thing. So everybody talks about tight end. Could you imagine a big set 13 personnel with Zalance Hurd as the inline tight end? This is my point. And Carter, that the offensive lines are turning. It kind of gets my point. We haven't touched on Aaron Anderson yet. Everybody keeps talking about Aaron Anderson special teams. Aaron Anderson special teams. You better go pop in that Alabama spring game because he made their DB room look like dog shit. Okay, that's the only way to describe it. He made them, excuse my language, and you know how excited I get when I do say stuff like that. He made them look like bitches. That's just the God's honest truth. He was running up and down on them. They couldn't stop him. He got separate. Carter, Tom Luganville was calling the game. Okay, Tom Luganville talked about this yards of separation. You know what his average yards of separation was against Alabama? 7 yards per separation. Tell me who's good. I'm telling you this, and I told you this last year about Denbrock. When they add these pieces, shit's about to get real, dog.
I like it.
It's about to get real. And again, Aaron Anderson, who's your comparison of him? I know we talked a lot about it. Who do you think he can be? Because I don't look at him as just a special teams guy. I wouldn't be mad if you put Kyle Parker back there if Aaron Anderson is Tyreek Hilling everybody out here on the field. I don't think they understand. I don't understand. I don't think people understand. Aaron Anderson's going to see it's going to start. A healthy Aaron Anderson's going to start. And so for that reason alone, I just don't think people are ready.
There's nothing more I can add to that.
Well,
I think Aaron Anderson is really good. But
he's good.
like, I'm not. I'm going to be honest. I'm always as objective, and we disagree on a lot. But
no, we don't.
No, come on. I wish people can hear our phone conversations.
I mean,
but I think Aaron Anderson is really, really, really good. Yes, I don't know if he's as good as what you're saying. Like, let me ask you this. True or false next year, Aaron Anderson will be a top 3 wide receiver on LSU next year.
True.
So you think he outgains one of
the number 1 receiver this year?
It was Malik Neighbors.
Was it?
I would say it's
who led the team in touchdown receptions? Who led the team on third down catches?
Touchdown receptions. That would be Dre.
Who had the least amount of drops?
Dre. I'm just saying. I think.
Side note, I think Malik was your number 1 receiver. I'm just saying you didn't have one. You did not have a true number 1. Fair?
No, I agree, Malik. No, I'll say this. Malik had some bad games.
Mm-hmm.
Was he the most alpha of alphas we've ever seen at LSU? No, he wasn't. But he was the number 1 guy. I would say he was the number 1 guy.
I agree that on paper he was the number 1 guy. But look, listen to me. Kayshawn's got to step up. Okay? Like, bottom line, Kayshawn's got to step up. The problem that I have is this for them. I think Aaron Anderson creates so much different havoc for everybody else. You're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able. So Carter, you do a film breakdown. Everybody knows about your film breakdowns. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that there were a lot of times during those shallow crossers, those dig routes, stuff like that. Kayshon Boutte was what we would call a robber. They were doing robber coverage to whatever side, at least I would call it a robber coverage, to whatever side that Kayshon Boutte was on, okay? The safety always shaded every single time to Kayshon Boutte. Is that fair? Damn near every time. Is that fair?
Yes, I would say so, yeah.
My point is, do it now. Do it now. I dare you. Like, I double dog dare you to double Kayshon. Because I like Malik Neighbors, getting the touches that he got. The reason he gets the touches is because they were doubling Kayshon. You know that, and I know that. So the bottom line being, I think Aaron Anderson is that good.
Okay. I hope you're right. Because
who's the third wide receiver right now? With Jeray Jenkins out, I mean, Bryant, with all due respect to Brian Thomas, I mean, Brian Thomas is hit or miss in games. No. Either he's going to show up or he's not showing up at all. I think Aaron Anderson has the ability to be there.
Right. Like, I think, for me, BTJ was hot and cold this year as well. I also think BTJ got open a lot and we just missed him. Like, I really do believe that. And something else about BTJ is he got robbed of some catches. So the Ole Miss ball, the double move early, he got, PI, so that would have been a tutty.
That's fair.
And then that catch versus Florida in front of their bench that they overturned, I felt so bad for him because that was such an alpha moment. Him just holding the football out first down, and you see the Florida Gators players on the sideline saying, dang, he's nice. You made a catch if that's the case. I just love me some Brian Thomas Jr. But
here's the thing about Brian Thomas, though, and the argument that Chili's trying to make about Jaden Daniels missing him. He missed a lot of people a lot of times. You can't just make that argument for one receiver.
Right. No, I agree.
And so if you're going to make the argument for one receiver, you got to make the argument for every receiver. Okay? I'm just that high on Aaron Anderson because – Carter, when he's that explosive in the return game, you're not going to have a choice. You're going to have to try him out offensively.
All right. Well, I'm excited. No, I'm really excited. Okay. Look, even in high school, you were telling me about.
Rip me alive if I'm wrong. Aaron Anderson, you better be a dog. Make me look good. You better be a dog. Make me look good.
Yeah. Here's my thing, Blake. Like, I try and be as honest as I possibly can because I if I say someone is truly special, I want to know a gazillion percent from my vantage point that he is that. Now, your football opinion I value as much as anybody's. So if you're saying it, I am believing it. I just can't wait to see him play. That's what I'll say at this point. But for me, let's bring up the guy that's probably the most popular person on my channel is Shelton Sampson. We'll see what he can do year one. I'm super excited about the.
Now, here's another question. Okay. So, look, okay. So we can talk Shelton Sampson, but I want to get to this whole offensive thing.
Yeah. We can
Where
move
you
on.
think their holes are. Okay.
Yeah.
Shelton Sampson and Brian Thomas Jr. will battle for the X.
Yeah, they're
Or
very
Z,
similar
whatever.
players. Yeah,
They're very similar. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Aaron Anderson and Shelton Sampson comparison, although I understand it, they're never going to play in the same position. They're just not.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. They're completely different players. Yes,
completely
absolutely.
different players. Let me ask you this: with a better offensive line coming back, and when I say that, because I think Emory Jones gets better, I think obviously Will Campbell gets better, I think the entire offensive line gets better. On paper, we've deemed them the best offense in the SEC at the current moment, not knowing what's going to happen next fall. How much confidence does that give you, though, going into that? Because I don't think that Brian Kelly's going to sit on his hands like Les will. Okay, everybody talks about Jaden, and I understand it, but I think that they'll work on a lot of those things in the offseason. Carter, I'm just not worried about him not getting better because I know that he will be better. I guess with all of that, maybe I'm crazy, but am I crazy on having this much excitement about all the things returning offensively? Am I that wild to think that right now?
No. So this is going to be a big domino for me, Blake. I think the middle of the offensive line struggled as the season moved on. I don't think that was their fault. I just think they got tired. I think some of them had to play through a lot of snaps, pain. It's hard. It's really, really, really hard to play that position all year long. So I think Zalance Hurd is somebody that's very interesting. I'm talking myself into Zalance Hurd being a starter somewhere as a true freshman. I'm trying to talk myself out of it, but if Emory Jones could play guard, that would bring so much more. It would bring so much more athleticism of a player of that caliber to move to guard, where he was initially playing, by the way, for LSU. And if Zalance could play right tackle, obviously, that would be pretty big.
What do you do with Anthony Richardson and Frazier and Dellinger?
Well, this is the thing: is they get hurt, right? Every offensive line gets hurt, right? You take a look at the
but my thing, I get what you're saying, but my thing with Emory, though, would be that let's just act for a second that they don't. I'm talking about starting guys. I'm talking about, if we're going to talk Emory, who are you replacing? It's not the Emory versus Anthony Bradford argument. It's the Lance Hurd technically versus Anthony Bradford. I don't think that they're taking him out.
I don't think so either.
You know what I think they're going to do? I think they're going to move Emory to left guard.
Yeah, I could see it. Look, I'm so high on Emory Jones. He was the best LSU offensive line recruit I've ever seen, right? Since Lyle Collins. I mean, I was just so blown away by him when he came out. And I think he truly has just so much athleticism for a guy. And I also think something happened this year with him is that he did have struggles blocking guys to the interior, right? He had struggle blocking what's called four eyes. And we saw it, versus Jalen Carter. Those things are good. Those things are good for him because he's going to grow and work on the small weaknesses. And
you can't teach his experience he just had.
Yes, exactly. I think when it's all said and done, we'll be looking at a first round pick. I really do believe it. I think he's that good. And yeah, there were moments in the Georgia game that just were brutal, but Jalen Carter's arguably the best player in the whole country. He might be, if he's going to be the first non-quarterback selected, him or Will Anderson. And this is a true freshman who came in the fall, who played guard, and then it's like, hey, we need you to save our season and be our starting right tackle for the rest of the season.
And honestly, right tackle is the most it's what we call the power position, right? Meaning, if you notice, most guys that play right tackle in the league are big, strong dudes. Like, I don't want to say the word I'm thinking, like dumb strength. Okay. Like just absolute, just like country strong dudes.
Let's go.
Go look at every single one of them. Let me say this. Emory Jones isn't that. Emory Jones, let me tell you what Emory Jones is to me. Emory Jones is Quentin Nelson.
Yeah.
He's Quentin Nelson. That's who he is. In reference to the development, I think both lines of scrimmage have to get developed better. Carter, my biggest concern on this team has nothing to do offensively. They have depth at all positions, quarterback, running back, O-line, wide receiver, tight end. They got depth. Number one thing for me is D-line that we'll talk about next week after everything comes to fruition, because, brother, they need help there.
Right. No, I agree with that. And hopefully your guy Deshaun Womack, man, hopefully he can.
Don't get me started on him. Don't get me started on him. You already know I'm not going to put that on him. I'm not. But here's my thing, Carter, about this whole LSU team holistically, okay? They have a lot of talented freshmen that came in last year and have a lot of them coming in this year. If they remotely get the same amount of success from their freshmen next year like they did this year, Carter, you're going to a national title.
Yeah.
Or let me back up. You're going to a playoff.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're going to a playoff.
Yeah.
And then, Carter, you will go to a 12-team playoff, and then the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit.
So one more thing. I know we're running out of time here, but
we get an hour and 30 technically on Monday, so you're good.
So I will say, because obviously the chat is bringing this up, and I try to avoid Jaden conversation as much as we possibly can. I don't know what happened to Blake. I guess this is AYS with me now. Let me see. What's up, Daniel? D-Dub, good to see you. I'll be on Golden Boot on Thursday. Hey, Ben, what's up, man?
Say
good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Uncle.
Oh, he calls me uncle now. He's actually doing it.
Hey, did you tell Uncle Carter what you got for Christmas yesterday from Lolly?
Yeah.
What?
A moat.
No, not a moat.
A moat.
Say it loud with your chest.
Nintendo Switch.
He got a Nintendo Switch.
No, he got a Switch? You got a Switch?
He said, you got a Switch?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Keep going, Carter.
No, I think the biggest step is going to be Jaden, right? I disagree with you on this, right? I do, and this is just the truth, right? And I got a bunch of Jaden stuff coming out, so I'll save some of the stuff for that. Jaden has got to get better vertically, right? And that's going to be the biggest difference.
Yeah, I don't think that there's an argument with me there. Yeah. I didn't argue. I'm not arguing you there. But
right.
But again, continue. But I'm not arguing you there.
Yeah, exactly. I will say this, Blake. I do think Jaden will get better some in that aspect, and he is a really good quarterback now. If you look at QBR, EPA, there's a lot of advanced stats that like Jaden, but our yard per play numbers have just got to get better. And the way you do that is
it has gone down every single year since he was a freshman.
Right. And that comes down to his confidence actually letting this rip. So,
Carter, let me ask you this in between that. How better do you think he gets the second year in the offense with the same offensive coordinator? He's never had that.
Yes. So I that is a big wild card, right? And ultimately the season, I think, is going to be decided by that very thing, right? And look, there's a lot of things I love about Jaden Daniels. And, as I brought up on here, and I brought up to you privately and just in general, and you've seen some of the conversations, I'm lucky to know somebody really close to Jaden and gotten to know a little bit more about him, as a player and as a person. I've never gotten to personally meet him. I'd love to. I thank him for doing what he did for us this year. But if he gets better vertically, LSU will go to the playoff next year. They just will.
He's
But-
got to be. Let me say this. He's got to. I think a healthy Jaden. If a healthy Jaden does what he did against Georgia, you're going to a playoff. Because Carter, the truth was he didn't have a choice. He had to rip it.
Right. And look, if he does get better at that, the team will get better. Right.
Well, like I think of the Malik Neighbors pass interference that wasn't called. Right. Remember the one along the sideline and Ringo?
Oh
ran
yeah,
over Malik? Okay.
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's a catchable ball. Okay, but he got PI'd with.
Right.
I just believe he's going to get better. Like I don't think he's going to get worse. My point being, if he stays the exact same, you're still going 9-3. You're not getting worse, is my point. So
Right.
the only way up. Does anybody in this chat put a? We got a bot in the chat, but Carter, last thing.
Let's see.
Do you think under Brian Kelly, Jaden Daniels will get worse?
No, it won't get worse. So
If he doesn't get worse, you're not playing Tennessee next year. You're playing Missouri.
yeah, exactly.
Billy Napier's in trouble, dog.
Yeah. I'm telling you,
Okay.
I think one big thing, Blake, is the schedule is a lot easier next year than what it was for us this
They
year.
played Tennessee, Alabama. Who else was the ranked team in the midst of that? Ole Miss.
Right.
All in a 4-week span.
Right.
And Arkansas in a 4-week span. And
Yeah, I think Blake, the hardest thing is getting over, and we're gonna have a gazillion segments.
I know.
Before, but it is going to be interesting that first game versus Florida State.
Carter, he's got another game. I mean, Brian Kelly said in the press conference, if we play Saturday, he's going.
Right. So I'm excited about Purdue. I'm excited to talk about next year, and I'm really excited about Jaden's growth over the summer. And look, I'll tell you this: intangible wise, he is everything you want as a quarterback. And whether you like it or not, he's kind of become the face of this team. And
Carter got voted on by his teammates as the MVP.
Right. And
like there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about how much you see him on social media, right? From LSU official accounts. It's a lot. And when you put those people on that, I mean, there's millions of people that follow those accounts. That kind of becomes the face of your team. So So he's a great leader. He's all those different things. It just comes down to getting the football down the field. But here's a good thing: is the next week for LSU football is going to be great. Obviously, we'll see what Isaac Smith does. We'll see, more importantly, what Desmond Ricks does. That's going to be obviously the biggest domino of them all. You might not think Desmond Ricks is the absolute best player. So what? You get a 5-star corner. It changes a lot. If that player turns out to be what historical data says that player will be at LSU. And if
Carter, would that be the most 5-stars that we've had in one class?
Would this be the most?
Sheldon Sampson, Lance Hurd, Deshaun Womack just got rated as a 5-star, and Desmond Ricks.
Right. What was the final count on the Fournette class? It was I think they had 5. It was Jamal Adams, Clifton Garrett, Malachi Dupree.
And Clifton Garrett. What a name that I never thought I was going to hear.
Never on AYS.
Never on AYS.
Fournette and someone else was a 5-star.
Was Malachi Dupree in that class?
Yeah, so it was Malachi
Dupree, Jamal Adams, Fournette, and Clifton Garrett.
And there, was it Maya Twain? No, Maya Twain was the next class. I think there was a 5th 5-star
from Texas. The O-lineman from Texas.
Oh man, it was great before he had to depart. But yeah, I mean that was a big miss.
Shooting up a parking lot.
Man, Maya Twain could play. I mean, if
nobody, you completely missed that.
No, I ignored that because
okay.
I don't want to end on a sour note because it does make me very. It does make me very sad that he did not finish out because he, as a true freshman, he was starting and he was.
I heard he said, "Pop, cop, pop, pop, Glock, Glock. Where you at?"
I want to shout out Buster, King Ulysses, a lot of smart people that are watching. One of the best.
Anthony
It's not too
Johnson,
bad.
the freak, was in that class.
Who? Anthony Johnson?
That's what this is saying.
No, he was 2011. That he was 2011 with Jarvis Landry and
yeah.
Lyle. I'm trying to think who the
OP Walker, stand up.
let's go freak. I loved him.
Dude, you know that he didn't have a tackle or a sack when Franklinton played OB Walker. Do you know who the guard was that played against him that night? Adrian McGee.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
As a true freshman.
Well,
Let's
all right,
go on.
Blake.
All right. We can
You're
be
the
out.
best fan. See you, buddy.
Later. That's Carter the Power Bryant, guys. We are way past time. We'll just have to get some more of this later on. All right. Pooh Bear, Zach. I don't know why the frick I put all these topics in here. I never get to all of them when Carter comes on. We'll get to them tomorrow. Till then, guys, we'll see. We're gone.